Good evening, everybody. This is Michael Reeves, and tonight we are going to bring you the first of four SSFA. That would be the Spring Stratomatic Football Association. We are now in the playoffs. We're in the final eight, also known as the quarterfinals of our playoffs. We had 9 teams qualify for the playoffs, and yesterday's game, Dennis Crowley and his Seattle Seahawks have advanced, and they will play in this game upcoming. They defeated the Washington Redskins in what we call a play-in game. So now we have seeds 1 playing 8, 2 playing 7, 3 playing 6, and 4 playing 5. And tonight we are having the number 1 and number 8 seeds squaring off, and they are heavyweights. They are giants of the Stratomatic football world. It's Tom Cook, whose New York Jets finished 16-0 this year against the 9-7 Seattle Seahawks, coached again by Dennis Crowley. 2 premier coaches. We expect to have a great game tonight. So, as they say, throw the record books out the window. And we're getting ready to kick off here momentarily. We're waiting for both teams to provide a code, and we will jump in just a moment. So we just got a note here that said that Tom is running a couple minutes late. We're going to play at 7:05. So while we are reviewing this, let's take a look at the matchups that are coming up. Again, this is the Spring Stratomatic Football Association. It is run by NFL Ed. It's been a long-time league. And we have Seattle facing off against the Jets. We also have Detroit taking on San Francisco. That's Ed's club. Minnesota, that's Anthony, I believe, is on the coach of that club against Los Angeles Chargers, and that is Paul half man, half Mankiewicz. We also have Chicago taking on Kansas City. I don't believe, unfortunately, I have not quite updated my league file, so I would tell everybody about the final statistics, but we can talk a little bit about the 2 clubs that will be playing today. If we open up our league files, we can take a look here at the last update I had for both clubs basically was the end of quarter 3. The Jets finished a perfect 16-0, but even by Tom Cook's own admission, he had mentioned that there were a few games in which were quite close, and he didn't deserve this 16-0 record. Still, though, incredibly impressive to finish an entire season in a 24-team league with an unblemished record. Seattle, heading into the 4th quarter of our games, we basically play 4 games a quarter. Was 7-5. They split down the stretch. I have experience playing both of these teams. I coached the Cleveland Browns, and I lost in the first game of the year, actually, to these New York Jets, 24-20. And I was able to notch a win against Seattle. Probably one of the highlights of my season. It wasn't a very good one at 7-9. Once again, did not make the playoffs. I've participated in this league now for 3 years, and 7-9 is the best record I've had, but that's not good enough to make the playoffs. You have to finish with a winning record. All teams who have a winning record make the playoffs, or I believe the cutoff is at 11. I don't believe I've ever had 12 teams with a winning record. You have 11 teams. Then they'll come up with a play-in round to get the teams down to 8, and then you'll have your quarters, your semis, and then your finals. Again, I do not have the updated 16-game completed schedule, but we can take a look at the Jets here and what makes them so successful. Now, next year, we'll see. Derek Carr is on this club, but Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback this season. Next year, we will be playing with a revised set of cards that will be based on the 2018 season. And Garoppolo didn't throw enough passes to qualify. I believe you have to throw 100 passes, and he was injured for the bulk of the season. So he'll have to fall back on Derek Carr, or perhaps he makes a trade. He's got 2 main running backs, including Dion Lewis and Orleans Darkwa. And he'll certainly be reloaded next year. Christian McCaffrey had a fine season, not only rushing, but also receiving. He is an outstanding player, and certainly he'll be banking on him next year. His top receivers, Kenny Stills, that's tight end from their real-life New York Giants. And there's Brandon Cooks, the Los Angeles Ram. Dion Lewis out of the backfield with 35 catches. So they're pretty much spread out. There's 5 receivers with 30 catches or more. He has a very, very difficult defense to navigate. Lots of 5s and 6s on the field, which, again, we will see momentarily. Now we're going to look at Seattle's team here and Dennis Crowley's Seahawks. And if there's anybody who knows about an undefeated season, I played with Crowley in a couple of leagues. Super competitive league, Autumn Wind, he finished 16-0 and was able to notch an Uber Bowl title, going 19-0. And of course, that's going to be Tom Cook's ultimate goal. 16-0 is nothing without a championship. Also, in another league in which we play, I believe Dennis put together a winning streak that was well over 30 games. And that would have been the Strat Fan Forum Draft League. I think he went basically combined more than 2 seasons without losing a single game. I think he finished off one year with a long winning streak. The next season went 16-0, and then in the following year rattled off a number of wins, and it totaled somewhere in the 30s. It was pretty phenomenal. That's another 24-team draft league. These leagues basically are what we call keeper leagues, and in about a month, Stratomatic is going to put together the cards for the 2018 season, and when they do, we will be picking players from that year, and we keep these players. Basically, we maintain a 53-team roster, and we will cut players, and we will trade players, and we will draft players, and basically the roster that you maintain pretty much looks the same year after year, unless you are not going for the year and you basically blow up your team in search of draft picks or young talent. And if you're a top-notch team, you'll pick up those players if you think you've got a strong enough club to go for the year. You don't even have to open up Dennis's team to know if you know anything about Dennis. Chances are his quarterback is going to be Russell Wilson, and that is pretty much the same for this club as well. His carries are split between Tariq Cohen, who is a real-life Chicago Bear, and Malcolm Brown, the backup running back for the Rams, but he had a very strong card even in limited usage. Also, Frank Gore with 90 cards, rushes, and 77 rushes there for Russell Wilson. His top receiver, 63 catches for tight end Vernon Davis. Jerron Brown on the outside also tacked on another 31 catches, but as you can see, it's spread out here with 31, 23, 21, and 21 catches. So while we wait for this number to be posted, we will get started here momentarily. A small little delay, but it shouldn't be too long, and we'll have our kickoff between the 16-0 New York Jets against the 9-7 coached Dennis Crowley's Seattle Seahawks. I think we also can jump in here quickly. We have a little bit of time here to take a look at the box score. Tom Cook called the play-in game over the weekend in which Seattle defeated Washington 28-7. Seattle pretty much led the entire way up 21-0. Washington tacked on a touchdown. Seattle added a touchdown in the fourth quarter to go 28-7. Russell Wilson, 21 for 36, an efficient 21 for 36 with 269 yards, 3 touchdowns. And no interceptions. Phillip Rivers has seen better days, 15 for 43 for only 148 yards. He did throw a touchdown and had 3 interceptions. From a rushing perspective, there's Malcolm Brown. Again, that's the backup Los Angeles Ram with 82 yards. Alvin Kamara with 55 yards on only 8 carries. Washington did have one receiver. Let's see, where was that touchdown? There it is. That's LeGarrette Blount. And 3 touchdowns, 1 each for Kyle Juszczyk, Tariq Cohen, and Vernon Davis. So it shouldn't be too much longer here. We're going to get a number and we'll get started. Again, Tom Cook. I don't have the history of this league. I don't know how many times we've seen clubs go 16-0. Maybe I'll send Dennis a number here real quick. Ask him a question, see if anybody else. Go up here, and Tom does this every once in a while. Double check to make sure that the broadcast is going okay. I'm flying solo right now. I put out we're using Google Hangouts, and I put the address out. If anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome to. Tom Cook, in addition to being a great coach, he's a great ambassador for this game, as is Dennis Crowley. I had played this game when I was younger in card and dice form, but a few years ago, I just decided to do a YouTube search, just checking out if anybody was still playing this game, and if so, were they playing the online version? Well, not only were they playing it, but I realized that there are leagues all over the country online, and Tom Cook, who does a wonderful job in broadcasting these games. He has a great feel for the game of football, but also, too, he statistically is like really sharp. He's got these numbers basically down pat. He understands the odds for every one of these rolls. It's really remarkable when he basically knows the plays before the plays actually happen. It's like he studies these cards and knows the odds immediately. And so it's a joy to watch his broadcasts as he can kind of talk about strategy, moves that would have been better suited in this situation or that. But he does it with a great job and with a nice sense of humor. He's really I think he missed his calling. I think he would have been great in a broadcast booth if given the chance. But we're glad he does this. And I think he's introducing a lot of people to this hobby. So that's certainly a credit. And we're glad that he does it. And we're glad to see him in this title game. He rebuilds a lot of clubs. And so there's a few seasons in which he's not going to be in the playoffs. But this is one where the team is particularly strong. And he has built this club from the ground up. And he deserves this opportunity to play for this championship. So it looks like we are getting connected. Dennis is in. And we're waiting for Tom to connect, and we will get started. So again, this is the SSFA. It is a 24-team league. It is the Spring Stratomatic Football Association. It's a league that is run by Ed Barrow, who again is a giant. He is a giant in the Stratomatic world, the stratosphere, if you will. He runs the league, and he's also in the playoffs. So we've got a spectator who joined the game and just left the game. And there's Dennis, and we're still waiting for Tom to get hooked up. Won't be too much longer. Dennis has asked me to put the address on Slack, so let's see here if I can do that real quick. Let's copy the link. And we're going to put this address on Slack. Okay. So we're waiting these two teams to fix their depth charts here, but that shouldn't take too long. So we'll be waiting a few more moments here while Tom sets up his lineup. Go back to the broadcast. Well, I was just talking about NFL Ed, and there he is right there. And Bradley has come to join us as well. Anybody wants to pipe in, you're more than welcome to turn your mics on and jump right in, guys. Well, as I'm playing around with these playoff broadcasts, I've noticed that you can actually clip a little bit. So I'll probably just knock off the first 10 minutes of this broadcast, clean it up a little bit so that future generations can enjoy an uninterrupted broadcast. But this, again, should be fun. Two titans of the Stratomatic world, Dennis Crowley, along with Tom Cook. Tom Cook 16-0 with his New York Jets. 9-7 Seattle Seahawks, actually 10-7 as a result of their playoff game win against Washington. So it's 1 versus 8 in these first of 4 quarterfinal games in the Spring Stratomatic Football Association. Tom Cook, again, 16-0, up against Dennis Crowley at 10-7. Tom Cook has said, yeah, 16-0 is nice, but it only matters if you go 19-0. It's going to be a disappointment if he doesn't wind up with the crown, which is obvious. Got that nice number 1 seed, though, so he's hoping for a smooth ride to the championship game. But already there's a bump in the road, and that bump is named Dennis Crowley, who is one of the premier coaches. I don't think anybody across the stratosphere would doubt that. This guy has so many championship belts. He's going to have another closet built, certainly another room, another rec room. He's got a man cave full of titles for Stratomatic championships that he's won. He's going to have to build an addition to that house. And Dennis Crowley pipes in and says it's pandemonium over on the Jets sideline. Well, we have a few people watching this game this evening. This is big time. This is, in wrestling terms, this would be Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. This would be Ali in his prime and Mike Tyson. This is Gretzky and Lemieux. These are two of the, you could say, Mount Rushmore of Stratomatic. These two guys would be it. And again, it's not because they're good coaches. They're also just great ambassadors for this game. I jumped into the hobby here just a few years ago after playing, when I was a young man, playing the card and dice version. And I've learned a lot by watching these broadcasts. Dennis Crowley has helped me a great deal with my game as well. So has Tom. They've been excellent ambassadors for the game, so it's going to be a pleasure. Watch this game, or at least we hope so. Okay. Well, it looks like I got kicked out. That's not a good start. All right, guys, give me a little bit. We'll jump back in. Okay, we are in. Thank you, Ed. Sorry about that. It's been a little bit since I've called one of these playoff games and I forgot it's watch game, not join server. So thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Going to open up a few things over here so I can see what's going on. So it looks like the Jets are starting out and they're going to go 3 and out on their first possession as Dennis correctly double teams the receiver on that play. So the Jets will start out here with a long booming kick of 57 yards by real-life Rams punter Johnny Hecker. Wow. And it'll pin it all the way down to the 4-yard line. So Seattle will start out 1st and 10 from their 4. Again, that's Russell Wilson under center. That's a decent but not spectacular line there with a 5 and 6 at their tackles, guards at 4 and 6, and a center that's a 4. But if I remember correctly from the broadcast, he does have 7s across the board on the line with the exception of the right guard who is a 4. Defense's guess is passed on this first play. This is a shot to Kelvin Benjamin, but it falls incomplete. So 2nd and 4. Again, Seattle 9 and 7 in the regular season, won their play-in game against the Redskins, 28-7. For the right, they play against the 16-0 New York Jets, coached by Tom Cook. Here comes another pass to Benjamin. This time it's guessed wrong, and this one's going to be caught and for some good yardage. That's 18 on the play. And now out of the shadow of their own end zone, Seattle has the ball at their own 22. We're just underway in this SSFA quarterfinal game between Seattle and the New York Jets. Dennis Crowley coaching the Seahawks, Tom Cook, the New York Jets. And for the 3rd time in a row, here's another pass to Benjamin, and this one also is caught. This is a pickup of 15 yards on the play and another first down. So that didn't take long. Started at the 4, now he's at the 37. Here's an off-tackle run for Malcolm Brown, and that's a pickup of 11 on the play, and Seattle is coming very close to crossing a 50-yard line. Nice start for Seattle as they were able to hold the Jets to a 3 and out on their first possession. So it's Brown in the I formation there with Kyle Juszczyk, who's a dangerous receiver out of the backfield. Here's a run for Malcolm Brown. Again, defense guesses pass. He only picks up 4 on this run. So it's 2nd down and 6 as they now have crossed the 50-yard line. Ball at the Jets 48. Again, I formation, that's Malcolm Brown in the backfield. It's another run, but defense guesses run this time. Nice call by Tom. We see another spectator is joined. And I wonder if we've got a game freeze. Nope, but a good guess by Tom. There's no gain on the play. And now it's 3rd down and 6. Running clock, 9:54 here in the first quarter. 3 wide set, Kyle Juszczyk. So they're going with the fullback, and that is Russell Wilson in the pistol. So sidecar left is Kyle Juszczyk, 3 wides. So this means that Will Fuller makes his first appearance in the game. Defense counters with the 3-3-5. Secondary includes a 5 and a 6, as well as a 5 in the slot corner. Defense is double teaming the tight end here. Here's another pass to Benjamin, and this pass is complete. It's another first down. So 3 big catches early for Kelvin Benjamin for 44 yards. And that puts the ball at the 37-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Seahawks. And here's a run for Malcolm Brown. Defense gets his pass. That's a pickup of 4. On Malcolm Brown's card, you can see that short gain on a 4 and a short gain on a 7. It's a pretty solid guess wrong card. He has a limited usage back. He's already carried the ball 3 times. I believe he gets 11 unfatigued carries, so he's good for a half. Keeps riding that train. There's a pickup of 5 for Brown. It's now 3rd and 1. So let's see if he stays with Brown or maybe he goes with Gore here. And instead he checks in with Tariq Cohen. Good receiver out of the backfield. I can't imagine his guess right card would be very good. He has 13 unfatigued carries. So he'll go with 3. Oh, and that's guess wrong. And Cohen's going to go straight up the middle for a big yardage, and he's going to head to the house. That's a touchdown. Defense guesses wrong, but you get bad luck there. Well, depending on which side of the field you're on. Good luck for Dennis Crowley. That's a big pickup for Cohen, who marches into the end zone for a score. And with the extra point, the Seahawks have struck first in this SSFA quarterfinal game, 7-0. Well, Tom Cook on his first series went 3 and out. He's going to try to put together a strong drive here. Jimmy Garoppolo will be under center here momentarily, and that is our kickoff bug, so we're going to have to jump out and jump back in. Fingers crossed the Stratomatic is going to fix this next year. Hope so, at least. Now, Tom Cook, when I was listening to his broadcast, he was actually anticipating this. I didn't do a good job. We'll make sure that we do that again. So we're going to miss a couple of plays here while we wait. So bear with me. All right back into it. So we've missed a little bit of action there. The Jets now have the ball. We're just midway here through the first quarter. They're trailing 7-0, but they do have the ball at their own 45. That's Jimmy Garoppolo under center. Nice set of wide receivers there. You've got Evan Engram, the tight end from the Giants, Kenny Stills, and Brandon Cook. So he's got excellent wideouts. And here is a pass to Stills. Defense guesses run on the play, but the pass falls incomplete. And that pass was to Kenny Stills, who has that maxed out card, but as Tom had pointed out yesterday, everybody has a gap somewhere, even the great Jerry Rice, and sometimes you dial up that 7, and it's an unlucky number. So 2nd down and 10. 2 tight end set is now we've got Reed for the Redskins checking in. Here's a deep shot. No man in zone, but the pass is going to fall incomplete. He was taking a shot at Cooks there. So now it's 3rd and 10. Cooks is being guarded by a 5. Stills is being guarded by a 5. You've got Engram guarded by a 5. He has linebackers, though, that are 4s. So we'll see maybe McCaffrey here. And you've got Ellison at the blocking back, who in reality is a tight end. So defense counters with a 3-2-6, basically a pro set formation with Garoppolo in the shotgun. Here's a curl pass to Brandon Cooks, and this one is good for 12 yards. 4 men in the zone on the defensive card. Box cars. So a 12 gets him 12. And the Jets will move the chains. 1st and 10 at the Seattle Seahawks 43. They're trailing 7-0. Tom Cook 16-0, perfect on the season up against Dennis Crowley 9-7. 10-7 with his play-in game win over the weekend against the Washington Redskins. This is the number 1 seed up against the number 8 seed. We have 3 more quarterfinal games to play this week. Jets will stay with that 2 tight end set. Crowley showing blitz on this play. He has a free safety 6. Here's a curl pass to Brandon Cooks, and that one is going to be picked off on the defense's card. Intercepted, and Seattle will sit on it there at the 28-yard line. So that was your interception split on the defensive card. Only 3 men in the zone, too. Wow, defense was double teaming elsewhere on the play. And we missed some animation there. It looks like that was I guess that was a touchdown. So unfortunately, we missed the animation on that play. It looks like he was tackled at the 28 after making the pick, but with the extra point, which kind of freaked me out for a second. I'm thinking, Dennis, why are you trying to kick an 82-yard field goal? I guess that 72-82 would have been an 89-yard field goal. So we had that mistake happen in the autumn wind playoff, actually. We'll just have to make do, I guess. So we'll have to hop out of here as the game has stopped. And we'll jump back in momentarily. So the Jets are trailing 14-0 to the Seattle Seahawks. So Tom's got some work to do here, but it's very, very early. Tom Cook is not one to panic. Lots of time in this game. We're just basically 10 minutes into the first quarter, and this one looks like it could be a shootout. So the Jets are trailing 14-0. Here comes an inside run for Dion Lewis. That'll pick up some yards. That's 5 on the play. Ball is now at the 42. So as I'm calling the game from my kitchen here in Ashland, Kentucky, no surprise, I hear the raindrops in my chimney heading down here to the kitchen for what seems like the 50th day in a row that we have received rain here in our tri-state, which includes Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. So 2 men in that zone. He's able to complete the pass, but it's only a pickup of 1 there to Brandon Cooks. Now it's 3rd down and 4. Ball at the 43. 2 tight end set again for the Jets. You can see that vulnerability for Seattle with 4s across the board there in those flat pass zones. Here's a slant pass to Reed. It's guessed right. And he's going to pick up just enough for the first down. Pickup of 7 on the play. And that'll move the sticks. The ball now is at the 50-yard line. Jets trailing 14-0 to the Seattle Seahawks. Tom Cook 16-0 on the season. Dennis Crowley 9-7 in the regular season. Won a playoff game, play-in game over the weekend against the Redskins. That's where we are. So there's a crossing pattern to Stills. And that pass is going to be picked off again. Another interception. And we wait for the animation, and it looks like nothing happened here. So that's just a straight-up interception. The second pick by Garoppolo, and it's the second interception on that same reading, interception 2 through 4 and 12. And that's with 3 men in the zone. So Tom has to feel quite snake-bitten by this turn of events. Pass falls incomplete. It's now 2nd down and 10. So Dennis early on looking good. 14-0. Ball at his 45. Time ticking away here in the first quarter of this SSFA quarterfinal game. There's a pass to Brown that's only going to pick up 2. 1 man in the zone. It's now 3rd down and 8. So back to this 3 wide set that we saw earlier with Juice Jack in the backfield. See what kind of heat Tom can bring here. There's a pass to Benjamin, and this one falls incomplete. And Tom Cook, where is the justice, right? Just missed that interception. 2 through 5 and 12. But I think he'd be happy with the 3 and out. Be even happier with a block kick here. Or maybe a nice return. I personally would be happy if this ball didn't go into the end zone, which it looks like it's getting ready to. Let's see. Well, it did go into the end zone, went to the goal line, and apparently Stratomatic decided to let us keep playing instead of locking up the game. So Cook and his Jets will take over 1st and 10. Ball at the 20. I don't know if Tom Cook is into this kind of stuff or not, but I saw the new jerseys that the Jets are going to be sporting this year. I'm not so sold on their jerseys so much, but I really like those helmets. I was always a big fan. I like throwback football. I really do, but I always thought those 80s helmets were really cool. Actually, I guess it'd be late 70s and early 80s with that Jets logo with the jet flying over top of it. I always thought those were really cool. Tom Cook's like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to win a playoff game here. I don't need these distractions. Second down and 6. Ball at the 24. We're at the last couple of plays here. And this should take us to the second quarter, and it does. So Cook will nab 6 yards on that play, as defensive tackle was unable to make that play on that white die 6. And that'll net 6 yards for Orleans Darkwa. And we're going to head to the second quarter as the Jets are trailing Seattle 14-0 in this SSFA quarterfinal game. So +1 or +6 on that flat pass attempt. It's a +1 because the white tie was a 4. So Crowley's got those 3 linebacker 4s. See if Tom will continue to pick on him. And here's an inside run. Defense guesses pass. Oh, but the defensive tackle is able to make the play right at the line of scrimmage. White die reading of 5, just enough for Seattle to make the play. And now it's certainly a passing situation here. 3rd and 9 with the ball at the 11. Back to 3-2-6. So does Dennis bring one of those free safeties into that middle pass zone? You'd have to think he would. Or maybe he uses them to double team, or maybe he just does nothing. Actually, he did. There was a double team on Evan Engram. The pass is caught, but it's only a pickup of 7 on the play. And it's now 4th down and 1. So that completion was to McCaffrey. And the Jets are going to go for it here on 4th, actually, and 2, trailing 14-0. So obviously a big moment in this game. The Jets feeling like it's now or never. This looks more like a Dennis Crowley move to me. He is one to go for it on 4th downs more often than not. And I think Tom is seeing those 4s across that linebacker core. So you've got 2 options basically here. Maybe Dennis is thinking the same thing and calls pass and takes that free safety. He also has an extra DB there in the short pass zone. He could move him up as well. He could basically take 2 of those defensive backs and put 2 linebackers in two linebacker zones here, 2 of those flat pass zones. That's Dion Lewis in the backfield. Under center is Garoppolo, who's already thrown 15 passes and 2 interceptions. Here's an off-tackle run for Dion Lewis, and he picks up 3. So the defense had correctly keyed Lewis, but didn't plug the right hole, and that was a run to the right. So Tom Cook can breathe a sigh of relief. The drive will continue, and Seattle doesn't take possession away inside of Jets territory. So this drive will move on. A sigh of relief for Tom Cook. 1st and 10 at his own 41. He stays with the 2 tight end set. That's Jordan Reed on one side and Evan Engram on the other. That's Orleans Docqua, a one-and-done card for Stratomatic this year, as he was not on a roster this season, to my knowledge. Strange, he did have such a fine season for the Jets, actually, to not be awarded a contract and not wind up on at least somebody's practice squad. Defense correctly double teams Lewis or Darko on that play. Nice call by Dennis. It's only a pickup of 2. And it's 2nd down and 8. Tough sledding so far for these Jets. Another correct double team. And that pass falls incomplete. He was looking for Cooks on that play, who already has 3 catches, only 14 yards so far. Garoppolo, again, 8 of 17 for 66 yards and 2 unfortunate interceptions, both on the defensive card, both with only 3 men in the zone on a 2-4 and 12 split. Some misfortune here early for the Jets, but a score here would lift the spirits of the New York faithful. And again, we have a big 3rd down. Now it's 3rd and 8. On the previous set of downs, Tom was able to get a successful 1st down on a 4th and 2 nail-biter conversion. Crowley even keyed the running back correctly, but it just was not to be, as he ran right when the defense thought he was running left. Got that 2 tight end set again. Here's a draw play, but it's only going to pick up 2 as the defensive tackle is able to make the stop. It's 4th and 6. And Tom's not going to take any chances here and go ahead and boot this one. This kick will go 47 yards. Let's see if it makes its way into the end zone. It's fielded and fair caught at the 8-yard line. So Seattle will take over. Seattle's two scores. One is on an interception return for a touchdown. The other, they had a drive that started at the 4, and it was a long run. It was kept off by a long touchdown run by Tariq Cohen. Here's an off-tackle run, guessed wrong. Pickup of 4. Again, that's Malcolm Brown. That's his 6th carry for 28 yards. He did hit that short gain 7 for 11 yards early in the contest. 2nd and 6. Curl pass to Benjamin. Guessed wrong, but it's on the defense's card. It was an interception split. It was only a chance at a 2. I'm sorry, that was on Russell Wilson's card, but little or no chance. 1 in 36 chance for an interception there. The pass falls incomplete. Defense guessed wrong on that play, and they were bringing a lot of men to the line. So it's now 3rd down and 6 for Seattle. There's 9:54 to go here in the second quarter. And here's a deep shot. It's guessed right, and the pass is going to be caught for 29 yards and a 1st down. So Russell Wilson connects with Jaron Brown, his first catch of the game, 29 yards on the play. And Seattle, once again, is out of the shadow of their own end zone. Put that ball down at the 41 of the Seahawks, 1st and 10. Russell Wilson has only thrown the ball 9 times here in this first half for 79 yards. He's completed 5 of them for 75 yards. Here is a pass that falls incomplete, and that was to Kelvin Benjamin, who had 3 catches for 44 yards in the first quarter. 2nd and 10. 9 minutes to play in this SSFA quarterfinal game. There's a pass across the middle. That is a pickup of 5. And that's once again to that split end, Jaron Brown. It's now 3rd and 5. Ball at the 46. Here's a curl pass to Benjamin, and this time the Jets will return the favor. Here's an interception. And we'll wait once again to make sure the animation doesn't go in the other direction. It did not get squirrely here. The Jets do not have a return on the play, but they are more than happy to take this ball over with good field position at their own 39. So let's see if the Jets can parlay this nice turn of events into a score. They're trailing 14-0. Seattle has called a nice game defensively so far, caught some breaks along the way. The Jets would like nothing better to get a touchdown on the board, as Seattle will start out with the ball in the 3rd quarter. So this is kind of I wouldn't say critical, but it's certainly getting important that the Jets look to make some hay on this drive and finish up with a score. At least get something on the board before the half. Here's your pass. That'll pick up 13 and a 1st down to Kenny Stills. So again, you really can't trust the animation that you see here on interceptions. I guess it looked like the interception was on the Jets side of the ball, but now here we are on Seattle's side of the ball. That was only a 13-yard catch, so sorry about that. I didn't catch the fact that I guess the interception return was brought into Seattle territory. So, pardonnez-moi. That was an excellent starting field position for the Jets, and it looks like they're going to be in at least field goal range here, but looking for more. Here comes a deep shot to Brandon Cooks, but there is a deep sack. So a huge loss of 10 yards on the play. as Garoppolo goes down. That is the first sack of the game. And that's McCoy. Gerald McCoy. Who is a salary cap casualty in Tampa. And if I was Tom Cook, I could tell you where he went. I want to say it's either Carolina or Jacksonville, maybe Carolina. The Jets used that money to sign Ndamukong Suh. So there's your pass that's going to fall incomplete. Garoppolo now 10 of 19. That pass was intended for Dion Lewis out of the backfield. So trying to make some hay there on a flat pass, make a more manageable third down. And now it's an unmanageable 3rd and 20. So Tom will stay with that 2 tight end set. We've seen a lot of this 3-2-6 formation. Defensive alignment, if you will, for Dennis. A lot of moving pieces on this defense. So he's got that extra DB hanging out in the short pass zone, which he can move. And there is a pitch out to Dion Lewis. Guessed wrong. But the dreaded 5 rears its ugly head. And now a big decision here for Tom as he is staring down the barrel of a 50-yard field goal. And of course, a miss here would give Seattle excellent field position at the 40. So I'm sure that Tom has taken a look at the odds of this kick. And that kick is going to be short. So Elliott falls short. Let's see what the odds of that would have been. I didn't notice if there was a variable or not, but basically here, 2 through 5, 11 and 12. There was a variable on the play. I'll have to ask him and see if that made a difference. I see a variable of 4. I assume that was 4 out as opposed to 4 in, so it didn't help matters much. But if NFL Ed is shaking his head, he's like, you don't know the rules. Lots of rules, Ed. Still learning, buddy. Hope everybody's okay out there in TV land as we are watching an SSFA quarterfinal game between Seattle and the Jets. Seattle is up 14-0. They have the ball at their own 45. It's now 2nd down and 6. And there is a flat pass that falls incomplete. So now it's 3rd and 5 with the ball at their 45. Stopped clock at 5:06. Seattle 9-7. The New York Jets 16-0. Seattle trying to go on the road to pull off the upset, taking on the undefeated New Yorkers, coached by Tom Cook. And there's a pass that's going to be complete. Is it going to get enough yards? Yes, it will. Move the chain. 7-yard pickup on the play. And that's another catch for Benjamin, who has 4 in this first half for 51 yards. Seattle's goals on this drive, obviously score, but at the very least, try to get rid of the rest of this clock so that Tom won't have the ball before the half. And there's another flat pass. That's going to be a pickup of 7 on the play. Russell Wilson to Vernon Davis. That's his first catch of the game. It's a reliable target for Crowley. Wilson is now 8 of 15 for 94 yards. So if Crowley can parlay this into points, more power to him. But I think his goal at this point is to try to chew up as much clock as he can along the way and not turn this ball over because he's going to get the ball in the second half. And there's a pass to Vernon Davis, but that pass ball is incomplete. Defense gets a run on that play, I believe. It's now 3rd down and 3. The ball to 41. The Jets are looking for a big stop here. Try to squash this drive. Tariq Cohen is back in the backfield again. That's I formation with Kyle Juszczyk. Defense with that 3-4. Defense calls pass, and that is a run play. It's a pickup of 9, and it's another first down. That one actually, yep, that's Tariq Cohen. That's his second carry for 37 yards. He had an initial run of 26, I believe, to give them their first score. And that's a pickup of 9 on the play, first down for the Seahawks. 3 minutes on a running clock, ball to 32. Defense calls run. Here is a pass that is going to be caught, and it's going to pick up 15 on the play. And that is to Juszczyk out of the backfield. So Dennis is in business once again here with the ball to Jets 17, up by 14. 16-0 New York Jets. Here's an off-tackle run. Defense gets his pass, but Brown only picks up 1 on the play. He's been dancing all around that short gain, 7. He's had a few 6s that'll get you 4. I think it's the first time we've seen that 1-yard pickup when you're rolling 8. It's not a chunky card, not at all, but it's a good guest run card. He does have a few more carries. Here is a pitch out. But a linebacker there. Defense calls run on top of that. Good call, Tom Cook. But that's a loss of 2. Minute 52. It looked like Tom called timeout on that play. So it's 3rd down and 11. Defense in the 3-3-5. 3 wide sets for Dennis Crowley. And Wilson is back to pass, and that one is going to be picked off at the 3-yard line. And this time the animation suggests they returned it 4 yards, so the Jets will take over at their own 7. They do have 2 timeouts remaining. That's Russell Wilson's second interception. That's the second time it's been, I believe, on the defense's card, maybe? Believe so. Either way, that's 2 interceptions for both quarterbacks. So the Jets might not have enough time to turn this into a score, but at the very least, mission accomplished. They kept this to a 2-score game. Could have been disastrous to go down, especially if it would have been 3 touchdowns with Seattle getting the ball at the beginning of the half. It could have been a nightmare. So the Jets will take it. A minute 37 to go. Seattle, by the way, all 3 of their timeouts remaining, so maybe they'll get a chance with the ball one more time, so you can't go sleeping on them. Defense calls pass. Here is a run, and that's going to be a nice pickup of 12 yards on the play. He did not get out of bounds. That was a nice call. Dion Lewis there with a pickup of 12. He doesn't get out of bounds, but they decide to do the hurry-up offense. The ball is now at the 18. And that's a run up the middle. That's a pickup of 6. Let's see if Tom will call timeout this time. He will not. 2nd down and 4, ball at the 25. He's running hurry up, so he still has that 2 tight end set, which means that Dennis will maintain that 3-3-5. And here is a pickup of 12, white die 6 reading there. And that's a pickup of 12 on the play. That pass was completed to Dion Lewis. Garoppolo now is 11 for 21 with 91 yards, 2 interceptions. Russell Wilson also has 2 interceptions. Lewis was not able to get out of bounds here, so Cook is likely to call timeout on this play, and he does. So 45 seconds to go, ball at his own 37. So with only one timeout remaining, let's see if Tom chooses to start chucking it downfield maybe a little bit more. Or maybe we've got time to see one more end run from Dion Lewis, hoping he makes his way out of bounds. Make sure our broadcast is still rolling. It's still rolling. So here's a quick pass to the right. It's going to pick up 5, and he is able to make the way out of bounds. That was to Jordan Reed. I need to move this over just a little bit, guys, so we can see the double teams. I'm sorry, I've missed those. Second down and 5. That was Jordan Reed's first catch of the game. 37 seconds. Clock is stopped. Ball's a Jet 42. So McCaffrey checks into the game. That is Garoppolo in the shotgun. Same 2 tight end set that we've seen pretty much throughout. Three-3-5 got that great free safety 6, keeping everything in check. It's Eric Weddle. Here's a curl pass to Jordan Reed. That pass falls incomplete. That's a pretty solid guessed right card for Garoppolo. Not spectacular, though. Guessed wrong, he's deadly, but most NFL quarterbacks are. But that's a pretty decent card. He just hasn't found success today, but it's not been on his card. It's been on the card of the defense and on the 3-man in zone, no less, where he's had a couple of unfortunate interceptions. It basically turned this game on its ear. One, certainly an interception return for a touchdown. Dennis Crowley had a long drive that began at his own 4, and that's pretty much the scoring that we've had. And there is a deep shot. He's going to try to pick on one of those 4s, but the pass falls incomplete. And so now it's 4th and 5 at the Jet 42, and they will go ahead and punt this one to Seattle, and it's a boomer. It's going to go sailing through the end zone. We may have another stoppage at play. Nope, I guess we won't. That's good. It's the kickoff bug. It's not the punt bug. So it's 15 seconds to go. Malcolm Brown in the I formation. Let's see if Wilson just takes a knee. Defense 3-3-5. Seattle does have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, so they've got 3 cracks at it. But that will not happen. Russell Wilson will take a knee. Seattle will not call timeout. We're just going to go ahead and head straight to the half. So here we are at the SSFA quarterfinal game, one of 4 quarterfinal games. This is Seattle on the road against the New York Jets. Seattle 9-7. They are the number 8 seed as a result of a playoff victory, play-in victory game against the Redskins, against the 16-0 Tom Cook coached New York Jets. So we're going to let these 2 talk. They're very good friends. Little back and forth they go. So this one's going to be picked at the goal. Let's see if they're going to run this one out. And it looks like we got the bug. Yep. So we're going to jump right back in. We only missed one play. That was a loss of 1. Put the card image back up here. So for today, there. Here we go. So here's a pitch to Cohen. It's guessed wrong. He'll pick up 4. So it's 3rd and 7. So again, Seattle up 14-0, putting those 14 points up in the first quarter. Cohen with a long run to culminate a 96-yard drive and an interception return for a touchdown. And that was Prince Akamura with a 72-yard interception return for a touchdown. Cohen's run was for 28. So 3rd and 5, 3 wide set. Here comes a slant pass to Davis, and that pass is going to fall incomplete. Defender extra short gain. Defender able to make the play. Here comes the punt. That'll wind up at the 24, and that's a nice return of 13 yards for Christian McCaffrey. The do everything, all everything back for Carolina, who's going to have you'd have to imagine a pretty good card next year. And speaking of next year, everybody with breathless anticipation, waiting for those ratings. I think I saw Carson Palmer and his number 9 on the Stratomatic Stratosphere website, which means the anticipation is 9 days before we get to see those ratings. It's like Christmas in July. There's a 2-yard pickup for Dion Lewis. That's 8 carries now for 30 yards for Lewis. And it's 2nd down and 8. The Jets trailing 14-0. They've only really had one true scoring opportunity, but it was thwarted on a missed 50-yard field goal. Other than that, I guess their other scoring opportunity would have been was thwarted on a pick 6, basically. A 72-yard interception return from Prince Akamura. Other than that, they really haven't challenged. They've had some drives stall at midfield, but their biggest scoring challenge were thwarted by an interception return for a touchdown, and also the 50-yard field goal was completely thrown in the wrong direction on a 10-yard sack. The ball at the 23, as I recall, and then a 10-yard sack, and it led to that 50-yard field goal. So here we are, 3rd down and 8. Dennis has been rolling with this 3-2-6 defense that does leave that middle vulnerable. But he's got the flexibility to move someone there, and he does. So here is a hitch pass to Cooks, and he's going to pick up some yards, a pickup of 13 on the play, and that is a 1st down. So on 3rd and 8, that was a legit flat pass attempt with Tom Cook anticipating blitz there. It was guessed right, but he hit that 3 on Garoppolo's card. And that gives him a first down. Here's an off-tackle run. That's going to be stopped for no gain. In fact, he loses a yard on the play, blocking back reading. And that play goes for no gain. So it's second down and 11. They have made their way into Seattle territory. I'd say Tom has to feel pretty fortunate considering his offense has not been very solid in this game, and to be only down 2 scores, certainly this is a very manageable game. And there is a pass that only goes for 3, and that's to Cooks, who has a long gain 2 guessed right on his flat pass card. Other than that, it's pretty pedestrian. So once again, another third down. Let's see so far in this game how New York has done on third downs. Just seems like they've had a lot of them. Numbers can be deceiving, I guess. They're 3 of 8 so far, but Seattle actually has 1 more. It just seems like they're at third down every single series. So here we are, third down and 8. This might be 4 down territory here too, so don't be surprised to see a flat pass. Defense 3-3-5. Here's an off-tackle run. Nice call by Cook. It's going to pick up 7, and undoubtedly this is 4 down territory as he now is facing a 4th and 1 at the Seattle 38. He did convert a 4th down in the first half, a dangerous 4th down. On a 4th and 2, Seattle correctly keyed Lewis personnel-wise, but they didn't plug the right hole. Crowley thought he was going left, and said he was going right. Well, actually, he was right. He went right, but he went the opposite right. So it's now 4th and 1. So needless to say, a big moment in this game. If this drive continues, the Jets can march toward their first score and putting a dent in that 14-0 lead. So Tom Cook is putting his thinking cap on while he's trying to figure out the right personnel package. Let's see what we have in our studio audience here. Make sure this broadcast is working. Hey, Kurt. Hey, Ed, and hey, Bradley. Okay, so we're going to wait a moment here while Tom thinks this one through. This is a big moment. I'm sure that Dennis understands. Tom needs a little time to try to figure this one out. So the other playoff matchups that we have going here after the Jets and Seahawks finish their game, we've got Ed Barrow with his San Francisco 49ers hosting Detroit. We've got Paul Mankiewicz hosting the Minnesota Vikings. That's Anthony. And we got Chicago on the road against Kansas City. So we'll be broadcasting those games as well. That'll probably be Tom or Dennis, or one of us will be broadcasting them for sure. So we're back at it here. 2 tight end set for the Jets. Defense counters again with a 3-3-5. So let's see what Dennis does with that extra DB. He did not call the free safety blitz on this play. I'll let everybody read that banter if you didn't see it. That was pretty funny. These are two good coaches and two good friends. There's an off-tackle run. Defense guesses pass. This has got to be a good sign for Tom. Just miss out on that dreaded 5, and he's probably going to get this first down. And he's going to get more. He's going to get a whole lot more on this play. That is a huge pickup. 36, and he's finally going to be hauled down. Great call by Tom Cook. So a 36-yard run for McCaffrey. And it's now first and goal with the ball at the 3. So the Jets can certainly, they've never been out of it, but a score certainly legitimizes the phrase, now we've got a ball game. A touchdown is going to put this thing back on the map, so to speak. So 4 cracks at it to punch it in from the 3. Full house backfield, defense 4-3. He's got the blitz going. That's Dion Lewis and McCaffrey in the backfield. Here's a run for Lewis, and he is going to waltz in on the very first play. So it's 14-6, pending this extra point that can cut this lead in half. And there it is, and it's now 14-7. So I've got my trigger finger ready, as this game more likely than not will lock. And I'm gonna get out of it right now and beat you to it, pal. So a nice drive there by Tom Cook, and he has cut this lead in half, 14-7. And we will jump right back in to this contest. So 1st and 10, ball at the 25 off that touchback, and there's a pickup of 7 on the play. And it's 2nd down and 7. Russell Wilson so far, 10 of 20 for 116 yards, 2 interceptions. Both quarterbacks have thrown 2 interceptions. Here's an inside run for Cohen, and that's going to pick up 2. So now it's 3rd and 1 for Seattle, who scored the game's first 14 points. They did so in the first quarter, but they've not really been able to muster much offense here since. They did drive deep into Jets territory just before the half, but Wilson lofted his 2nd interception near the goal line. Which killed off any chances of Seattle extending that 14-0 lead. And there is a nice call, 3rd and 1, a run on the play. That's a pickup of 15 for Tariq Cohen, who has 6 carries for 57 yards, including a 28-yard touchdown run for the game's first score. So Seattle has the ball already at their own 49, moving. Here's a pickup of 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 9-yard pickup on the play. That's Russell Wilson on the end run. It's now 2nd and 1. So just like that, they find themselves at the Jets' 42-yard line. 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter on a running clock. SSFA quarterfinal game between Seattle Seahawks, 14 points for Seattle, and that's coached by Dennis Crowley against New York Jets, the 16-0 New York Jets, with only 7 so far. There's a run to move the chains. That was Cohen again. Picked up a 1 or 2 on the play, which is good for another first down. Ball at the Jets' 40-yard line. Seattle up 14-7. 59 yards for Cohen. Here's an end run. Defense gets his pass, but there was a linebacker in that zone. However, he's not able to make the play as the white die reading was a 6. The linebacker was a 5. So that's a run for 4 yards again to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is one to do that. He has 4 more end runs in his back pocket. Here's an inside run for Cohen. Defense again gets his pass, double teaming elsewhere. That'll be a pickup of only 3 on the play as the center is not able to make that block. He's only a 4. You need to be a 6 on that play. Those are always nice when you've got those center 10s, center 5s and 6s, and you roll up that 10. Those are great, aren't they? It's now 3rd and 3. With the ball at the Jets 33, you have to think this is going to be 4-down territory, but we have to find out what happens on 3rd down before 4th makes a difference. And here is Cohen running wild again. This time it's a pickup of 7 on the play, and that's the exact roll that he got on his touchdown run on a white die 6, I believe. But this time he only picks up 7, but again, that's good enough to move the chain. So now with the ball at the 26, the Jets are looking at going down potentially by 2 scores as Seattle has moved into field goal range for sure. Now it's damage control for the Jets. 3:54 on a running clock. Here's an inside run to Cohen. Defense guesses run. It's on the defense's card. And again, that center reading comes up. So he's only picking up 2 on the play. It was a white die 6. So that's only for the elite centers to make that play. 2nd and 8. Lots of run calls here for Seattle, maybe setting up that Kelvin Benjamin throw. Here's another inside run. Again, guessed wrong. But Cohen's card is not really strong. Guessed wrong. That's just okay. Actually, if you look at it, it's really not that bad. You just hate to dial up a lucky 7. In this case, it's an unlucky 2. But everything else is actually quite good on that card. It's not super chunky. Now that I think about it, actually, Cohen may have dialed up his own 36 on that run. I thought it was on the defense's card. I have to look back and see, but maybe that was on. Anyway, he dialed up a 2, and it got him that big run for the first score of the game. Defensive nose tackle pickup on that play. That's a 5. He is able to make the play. So it's 4th down from the 21. Dennis is not going to take any chances here. He's going to put this one through and extend that lead to 17-7. That one's going to go sailing through the end zone. We'll stop and jump back in. Okay. The 16-0 Jets are down 17-7 to the 9-7, 10-7 Seattle Seahawks. But that doesn't tell the entire story when the coach for that 9-7 team is one Dennis Crowley. Tom Cook's 16-0 on the regular season, but he knows he's got to get this club into the finals to make that 16-0 look even better. The season isn't a success, at least without a trip to the finals, much less a title. Good pickup on that first play of 6 yards. for Dion Lewis. That's a nice play. There's your pickup of 11. Nice flat pass, picking on those fours, but in this case, the defense called run on the play. And that's a pass to Orleans Darkwa, not exactly known as a darling out of the backfield, but that's three catches now for 25 yards. So good field position now for the Jets as we're into the final moments of this third quarter. There's a deep shot. 0 men in the zone, but the pass falls incomplete. Defender reading Exer, long gain. Had that been a 6, we could have flipped the script on this game, but he did have a 5. It was just enough to tip that ball away from Kenny Stills, and it's 2nd down and 10. Here's a screen pass, and there comes those 4s into play. Finally, we see that X, a short gain, and there's your pickup of 16 yards on the play to Dion Lewis. Receiver extraordinaire out of that backfield. We are now venturing into the fourth quarter. The Jets were able to get on the board in that quarter with a touchdown to cut it to 14-7. Seattle tacked on a field goal in the closing moments of the quarter, and that's where we find ourselves, 17-7. And there's a run up the middle. That's a nice pickup for Orleans Darkwa at 24 yards. And the Jets are starting to put it together with back-to-back quality drives, as now they have the ball at the Seattle 18. (17-7). The Jets have had 2 scoring opportunities that got screwed up by an interception from Garoppolo, who's thrown 2 of them, and also a missed field goal. But that doesn't tell the entire story. It was a 50-yard field goal attempt that fell short. And it was brought upon by a 10-yard sack that moved it out of true field goal range. It's now 2nd down and 8 for the Jets. Unfortunately, I am running out of juice on my computer here. I've got to go up the stairs and get my cord. Sorry, guys. I may miss a few calls here. We'll try to get this thing drive here finished up. I certainly don't want to miss anything and have to restart my computer. So here's a quick out. That pass is caught, but it's only a pickup of 2. So now it's 3rd and 6 with the ball at the 14. So the Jets can feel pretty confident here that they're going to cut this to 1 score. But this is a huge 3rd down. A conversion here, Tom would like nothing less. 13-12 to go on a running clock, trailing by 10 to one of Mount Rushmore, Stratomatic Mount Rushmore's very own Dennis Crowley. Whose man cave is full of Stratomatic championships. Needless to say, this is not an easy out, even at 9-7, and Tom knew that coming in. But he's got a chance to take a chunk out of this lead right here. So we got the I formation in. Could we see a run here? 3rd and 6. McCaffrey, a fine receiver out of the backfield. So again, you see those 4s, but you got that flexibility with the free safety to flood one of those zones and maybe use that extra defensive back. So he takes one of those free safeties and instead chooses to hit the double team whammy, and this pass falls incomplete to Evan Engram. And so let's line up for this 31-yard field goal and see if we can cut this lead down to 1 score. And the kick is shanked, of all things, mercy sakes. A 2 through 8, 11 and 12, and a bad kick on 9 and 10. Well, Tom Cook knows this. Bad luck plays a part, but You just got to play through these kind of things, and that's what Tom Cook's going to do. Down 17-7. I'm going to run upstairs and go get my power cord for this. So we'll be off air for just a minute or two. We'll be right back. Okay, let's pick it back up here. So Seattle has the ball fairly deep in Jets territory on the heels of the second missed field goal by Elliott. Seattle up 17-7, trying to kill off some clock, try to extend this 17-7 lead as they're all doing the best they can here to pull off a major upset here in the first quarterfinal game of this SSFA championship. So the Jets have a lot of work to do, and that starts with getting Seattle off the field without adding any more points to this lead. Make sure that our broadcast is still going strong, and it is. And here is a defense. Let's see, defense calls run on this play, and it is a run. It is on the defensive card. No linebackers in the zone. It's only a pickup of 3. It's now 3rd and 7. As we can see, Cohen has hit his fatigue level. Doesn't mean you can't run him. It's just going to mean he's not going to be quite as effective. So we got Wilson in the shotgun with Cohen in the backfield along with Kyle Juszczyk. Here's an inside run for Cohen. Ooh, and he's just stopped short. So it's 4th down and 2. Seattle elects to kick it, and this is a 43-yard field goal that goes through. And the lead is now 20-7. So the Jets are down 2 touchdowns with 8 minutes to play. as the game will freeze and we'll have to jump back in. Well, I'm wondering if maybe there was a major crash there. So there was a major crash, so that's why we're not able to get in. Okay, we have a new number here. So 31153. Okay, everybody's going to reboot. So that's why we have the delay. Okay. Okay, looks like we're going to rejoin here. Sorry for the delay. Had some connectivity problems. So there's our first play from scrimmage after the delay. We are basically midway officially in the fourth quarter of this contest between the Jets and the Seahawks. The Jets 16-0, Seattle 9-7. This is the SSFA quarterfinals here in 2019. We are ringing the last drop out of the 2017 card set just a couple of weeks before the release of the new ratings. And there's a pass that drops 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so some bad luck on that roll. And a defender reading where the linebacker's only a 4. So Tom definitely behind the 8 ball on this play. 3rd down and 13. More likely than not 3rd down territory anyway. So maybe he tries a flat pass and gets some of it back instead of going for it all on one play. So that's tight end Rhett Ellison in the backfield. Got 4 good receivers here, and Ellison's guarded by a 4. So let's see who he takes advantage of. Is Dennis going to double team one of these guys? Is he going to bring the house, thinking that Ellison's going to try to catch a pass? Here comes a slant pass to Engram. Defense calls pass, and it falls incomplete. 4 men in the zone. And so now 4th and 13. 6:35 to go. That distance might change Tom's mind here. Down by 13, though. Any score here for Seattle would pretty much end it. It'd be tough for him to punt here for sure. But 13 yards is an awful lot to corral. On one play, especially with 4 men in the zone. And he's got good cornerbacks. The only guy would be going out for a pass here that would be guarded by a 4 would be whomever is in that backfield with the linebackers at all 4s. So Cook is thinking this one through. So this, again, is the first of 4 SSFA playoff quarterfinal games. We have 3 more to go. Ed Barrow, who's in the audience, his San Francisco 49ers are in it. Paul Mann, half Mankiewicz, it's a lovely nickname. He's in it too. Kansas City's in it, Detroit. Minnesota's still there. And Chicago. So 4 wide set. That's Dion Lewis in the backfield. Three-3-5 set that we've come to know and love. Dennis has pretty much rolled with that in a 3-2-6 throughout. A button hook pass, but it's only going to pick up 3 yards. Defense anticipating an empty zone there, but there was a man in that zone. Had there been 0 man, it would have picked up 10 yards. But it would have been guessed wrong had he gotten that receiver reading. Now, Dennis, with 6 minutes to go, take off a few minutes of this clock. If he puts a field goal through, it's still only a 2-score game. Here's an inside run. That's a good run, good roll on the first carry for Frank Gore, who checks into the game. That's 7 yards for him. He has low fumble numbers. I'm pretty sure we're going to see him pretty much the rest of the game. 2nd down and 3 as they try to munch some clock and move their way maybe toward a field goal that could potentially put this out of reach or certainly greatly reduce any chances of a comeback. Nice call by Tom on a keyed run there. For Gore, he stopped 1 yard in the backfield, but again, that clock continues to move. Although Tom called timeout there, it looks like. Looks like he did. Oh, no, maybe. I guess he didn't. He must have called timeout a little earlier. So here's a must run call. And would you look at that? Russell Wilson coming through in the clutch on a 3rd down and 9. And it's everything is coming up Seattle. Up 20-7. Ball at the 14-yard line of the Jets. A running clock. 4:30 to play. There's a crossing pattern. That's going to be caught. No, I'm serious. Excuse me. It's incomplete. Pass was intended for Juice Jack, but the pass falls to the turf. It's now 2nd down and 10. I saw that white die 4, and I thought, oh, that's right. He's got linebacker 4s. I forgot he's got better linebackers than that. Much better. Importantly, that does stop the clock, so it's now 2nd down and 10. 4:12 to go. There's a play guessed right, and Gore picks up a yard, but more importantly, that clock keeps rolling. 3:36 to go. 3rd down and 9. Tom stops him here, and there's a glimmer of hope. He can keep it to 2 scores if he can stop this play, when Dennis will undoubtedly kick a field goal. Russell Wilson in the shotgun. It's Cohen and Juice Jack in the backfield. Cohen's fatigued, so I don't see him running a draw here. Here comes that end run to Wilson. He's able to scoop for 4. So that'll create a 26-yard field goal attempt for Harrison Butler, and he will put that one through. It's still 2 scores, but a few more minutes went off the clock there. So 2:42 to go. I hope Tom didn't decide to try to take that one back, because I jumped the gun on getting out of the game. Well, I was hoping that wasn't a super crash, but we're kind of hanging out here again. That's gracious, Tom. There was a misclick in this game, and Dennis has offered to give him one of his timeouts. That's right. Only if by some miracle he'll use that timeout. So that was very nice of Dennis. That happens every once in a while. You click the wrong thing and you have to call timeout to fix the lineup, but the opponent knows that you didn't mean it, and so he'll give you one of his timeouts. That's very gracious. So a couple minutes to play as Tom tries to conjure up a miracle here, trailing by 16 in this SSFA quarterfinal game. And there's a deep pass that falls incomplete. And there's that free safety 6 that comes into play. One man in zone. It's always nice to have that anchor. 2nd down and 6 with the ball at the 14. So it looks like, yeah, he must have tried to return that ball. Maybe there was a touchdown possibility. Here's a pitch out. Guessed wrong. It's going to pick up 5. He's not able to get out of bounds, but it doesn't matter. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. It's now 3rd down and 5 with the ball at the 19. Tom Cook coaching all the way to the end. There are some long gains on several of these cards, so let's see. Let's see what happens. Anything's possible. New York with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Here's a quick out pass. That is caught, but it's only going to pick up 3. And this will probably be a hurry-up offense call, so that'll be 4th down and 2. So in essence, the ball game. Any chance of a comeback has to hinge on completion of just this 1st down alone. So this is off to a little bit of an inauspicious start. Down 23-7. 4th down and 2 for the Jets. I formation, that's McCaffrey in the backfield. Here's a quick out. Defense guesses pass, and that pass is going to be caught, but it's going to be a yard behind the line of scrimmage. And for all intents and purposes, this game is now officially over. The Seattle Seahawks will take over at the Jets 19 with 1:45 to play. And the Jets will line up with a full house backfield. They may take 3 knees here, depending on whether or not the Jets are going to call timeout. They may even take 4 knees here, rather than even risking a field goal. Here is a take a knee. Let's see. They will call timeout. So Wilson will take a knee on this 2nd play. And Jets will call timeout again. 3rd down. Russell Wilson will take a knee again. No timeout on that play. 45 seconds to go. And here's another field goal that sails through. The Jets extend their lead to 26-7 with 37 seconds to go. That kick is going to be returned. Hallelujah. So the ball is at the 26 with 30 seconds to play. So Harrison Butler with 4 field goals today. On the other side of the ledger, Jake Elliott 0 for 2. One of those was a 50-yard field goal, but a chip shot 31-yard field goal that sailed wide that could have cut this lead down to 7, and it just fell apart after that. Here comes a deep shot to Brandon Cooks. 2 men in the zone. Pass falls incomplete. 2nd down, ball at the 26-yard line. 22 seconds remaining. We have a maximum of 4 plays left in this contest. Defense 3-2-6. And there's a quarterback sneak for Garoppolo, and the white flag has been waved, and this ball game is over. So congratulations to Seattle, who will move on to the semifinals of the SSFA championship. And the Jets season will finish after a perfect regular season that, by even Tom Cook's admission, said that there were at least 2 or maybe even 3 games that he had no business in winning. Nothing to hang your head about. Dennis Crowley, a top-notch coach, a 16-0 club. How many people can possibly say that? It was really a great game against 2 great opponents. And we could play this game 10 more times, and Tom Cook could come out ahead 9 out of those 10 times. He caught some bad breaks on some 3 men in the zone passes with some very small interception splits, but it just turned out that the rolls didn't go his way. One of those picks was returned for a touchdown. He had a couple of field goals that went wide. But all in all, Dennis coached a great game. That's not a super team by any stretch. There's some fours on the field, especially on defense. But he was able to overcome. And that's how we have the final score. We're going to wrap it up here. It's Seattle 26 and the Jets 7. I believe
Michael
and Dennis are both going to join us here in just a moment. And I hear
So don't wrap it up.
You know what? I'm going to let you two talk. I'm not going to be talking much, so I'm pretty much wrapping it up.
We're going to wait for Dennis to come on, I guess.
Sure.
That's disappointing, but not totally unexpected by me.
Understood. I'd mentioned a couple of times that you'd said, even in the playoff preview, that there were a few games that you felt like they could have gone either way. It was a 16-0, but it wasn't like a 16-0 dominating season. There were a few games that could have gone either way.
Well, there was 2 games that should have just lost, but beyond that, once you get into the playoffs, look, once you play any game, it doesn't matter anymore what you did in the regular season. It's a matchup in front of you, both in terms of personnel and the coach. And of course, Dennis is one of the best coaches out there. He doesn't like me to say that he's the best coach out there. So even though he just beat the undefeated team 9-7, he doesn't like to hear that he's the best team out there, best coach out there. So to me, he's obviously, it's everybody. He's obviously one of the best coaches out there. But I knew I'd have some problems with his offense, because he's got great pass blocking, and and I was going to have trouble, I think, getting him off the field in third downs and stuff. Even, because Russell's got the good short pass right guard. He's got the good must run ability. He's got the dump offs, and I knew he was going to mix the run in well. He runs the ball a lot with his team. But I felt like I was going to try to play bend but don't break. Because inside the 20, I thought maybe I could slow him down a little bit, keep him out of the end zone. And then on offense, I thought I had a lot of options. He called a great game in the first half. I thought hitting a lot of double teams correctly. And then what? I had just some regular opportunities. Flat pass right, or maybe long pass. No man right or one man right. I just in the running game, I just wasn't getting the dump offs and stuff like that. And Garoppolo was really terrible, particularly on third down, where he's been great all year. And then in the first half, I didn't run the ball enough, which is a common failing of mine that that I recognize. So you put all that together, and then you get some bad luck on a pick six, and I was getting a lot of bad luck in the second half on rolls from the scrimmage. Where his fours would make a play, or I get a dreaded. There was that sequence, I felt that kind of summed up the game where he was leading 17-7, I think. And I was at his 23. I got 2 picks on Russell, so I was grateful for that. And I got sacked on first down, which I understood because I challenged his all-out blitz, which I probably shouldn't have done. And but then second down and third down, I was at my 33. And I thought like a flat pass right to Deion Lewis.
Right.
And he had a guy there, but the guy's only a 4. And Garoppolo's got a great card. They get snake guys, and Garoppolo gets right, incomplete. And the next play, I do an M run wrong with Deion Lewis. I get the dreaded 5, no gain. All I needed was at least 2 or 3 yards there.
Right.
And my field goal is 2 to 8, 11, and 12. And if I hit it, all right, it's 17-10. That's a different ball game. But I never even closed to within. Once you was up 10-0, I never even closed to within 1 score.
Yeah.
No, I did get to 14-7. That's right.
I think what that was, you were down 14-0. You were trying to get that field goal before the half. And that's when you had the sack. That you had the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, 23 back to the 33. Then I saw you just trying to get some yards just to get some points on the board, just to make a more manageable field goal. Now you're staring down the barrel of a 50-yarder. And that's not to even mention the other field goal where you drove all the way down to his 14, I believe, and missed a 31-yard field goal. It was just
Well, this guy is only 2, 8, 11, and 12 outside the 12. So all year long, I knew that was a problem in the draft. I mentioned it during the draft review show that I felt like I was targeting a kicker, and I was targeting him in a spot where usually you can get the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on a second, because I don't know what Dennis is. But the kickers went like about a round earlier than usual, and instead of getting like Josh Lambo, who I thought I was going to get, I got stuck with stupid Jake Elliott, who's fine in next year. His young kicker maybe will be okay. But I knew that the 2, 8, 11, and 12 outside the 12 is not what you want. And when I was at his 14 there and deciding, I think it was like a 3rd and 6, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 yards to get a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I get the negative variable, it's still back to 22 to 11 and 12.
Correct.
And and Garoppolo was great all year for me on short pass right in 3rd down situations, but he was terrible in it tonight. And that was a problem for my team. And right there, I'm like, I have to try and get the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis offense is a tough matchup for me, and he was of course managing it well, and I didn't feel confident I could really stop him completely. So I played for the first down and the touchdown, and of course I didn't get either. And then the idiot misses the field goal, which, like I said, he's only 2, 11, and 12 outside the 12. That's a weakness of the team.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I had a feeling all day that I was going to lose the game.
Oh.
And whenever I have that feeling in a postseason game, I'm almost always correct. And I thought about rescheduling that, but I was like, I don't feel any better going ahead. I like this team. The team got like every break all year long, and then you're due to have a bad game,
mm-hmm.
and you know what happened in the playoffs, especially in the opening round. But that's what happened. So Dennis is here now. You there, Dennis?
Yeah. I agree with you. That it was ironic that you had talked about that after the draft, that you wanted Butker and you wound up with taking settling for Elliott. Then,
well, Butker or Josh Lambo.
Right.
But and what happened was you took Butker. I think he was the first. Either him or Lambo were the first kicker taken. I forget. And then what screwed me was Joe took Aldrick Rosas, because Joe's not going for the year, and Rosas is terrible this year, but he's real good next year, and he's a young kicker. So once Joe took him, then it was like one extra kicker went earlier than he should have, and then Nathan or someone took like Josh Lambo, and I was like, oh, I got screwed, because normally, I looked at where the kicker always go, and I prioritize making sure I have a good kicker, and and in this year's draft it didn't work out that way, so
Yeah.
But look, I think even if I had a good kicker, I don't think that made the difference between victory and defeat here,
Well, no, the game was won because of the pick six and the missed field goals. So that's, if those things are not there, it's an entirely different game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were talking about before the half. I was just trying to get a few yards to get into field goal range to make it, whatever, get some points on the board. Well, in that situation, there was 30 seconds left or something. I had the sack. It was 2nd and 20, or whatever it was, and I was at your 33. And I was like, I was telling Michael, I know you came on, you weren't on for a couple minutes there, but coming into the game, I knew that I could have some problems with your offense, especially if I let you run wild, or if, in the short pass right situations, or even long pass right situations, with your pass blocking is so good, there was really nothing I was going to do to generate pass rush, even if I sold out on it. You just had too many sevens, and I don't have enough good guys. That your numbers, with the dump off and the must run, it was going to be tough to get you off the field there on 3rd down, and it happened a lot, and you were confident throwing those short passes whenever you wanted. You did a lot of that in the first half, so even though it was 14-0 before the half, it's all right, 2nd and 20, meant that it's 33, and you have a good pass rush advantage on my offense, which was a weakness of my team. I talked about the team having weaknesses and stuff like that. I knew that going against you here, or if I ran into Dan in the semifinals, that their pass rush could be a problem for me, But I felt pretty good about this game coming in with the matchups with my offense against your defense. Because I just felt there was a lot of options for me. But you were double teaming me great in the first half, and I told Michael before, I'm repeating it now because you weren't on before. I didn't run the ball nearly enough in the first half, and that's a known weakness in my coaching, and stuff like that. And then the second half, I think my play calling was fine, but I was just not getting like from scrimmage. I was just like like your forward make a play, or I would get a dreaded 5, or I get like a flat pass right incomplete on Jimmy, and on third down, Garoppolo was like useless. He was great all year. Like I was getting like any dump offs. It was the offense was just really struggling. And the first half, I think was because of your coaching primarily, and my reluctance to run the ball. And the second half, it was both. And you coached good the whole game, of course. But the second half, that really hurt from the scrimmage. I feel like with like a lot of little rolls. It wasn't like I was throwing picks left and right, but it's like I was just like not getting like the regular rolls for scrimmage that you expect to get when you have a favorable matchup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I didn't see a lot of white die 6 when you were throwing flat. That helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure I saw any.
You burned me a couple of times you burned me once or twice while I was gambling, and then I decided, you know what, let's just not be so aggressive. Let the game come to me. Don't always blitz. Don't always move my 4s. You caught me once blitzing on a flat to Engram, and then another time on a look into Darkwa. So I was like, you know what, I gotta just make sure I keep my guys in their zone, so let them have a chance to make those plays.
Yeah, well, that's what the scoreboard I think definitely hurt me. Because once you were up by 2 scores, and the game had that feel to it, that it's kind of like our Strat 28 game against Dale Van Deven, where you feel like you have a good offensive matchup, and you're calling the plays, and you're just not getting stuff. Now I think you got. Exactly.
I was even going to say that. I felt exactly the same way.
I feel like you got diced much worse in that game than I can't say I got diced in this game. It wasn't like I was turning the ball over all over the place. I got 2 picks on Russell, but it like just consistent like plays from scrimmage where like the play call should be favorable, and it's just constantly, your 4s making plays, and Garoppolo sucked on the short pass right where he's been great all year. And I'm talking more the second half, because first half you were double teaming the hell out of me pretty well. It was a tough game. It was a tough loss. But, I knew this team was flawed, but the offense was so good all year. And I really felt good about my offense coming into this matchup, but it didn't happen,
Yeah, I was lucky, too, on one of the double teams against Cook. Against Cooks, it would have been a long gain on the receiver reading if I didn't have that double.
Well, that's not a luck deal. Yeah, it's not lucky. You show, you have a good feel for the double teaming. A lot of the veteran coaches who are real good, they have a good feel for the double teaming. I usually have a good feel for it, not so much against you, of course, all the time. Although you and I usually play pretty close games, so I think this is a bit of an outlier. But you have a good feel for the double teaming. So when someone double teams a guy correctly, I don't really consider that lucky. I mean, that's the skill. You're choosing who to double team, and you're going off of instinct and hunch and pattern recognition, and mostly instinct and hunch. Sometimes it's just strategy. If the strategy is more if the guy doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, against good coaches, you're going more by feel. Unless it'd be different if you had like one guy covered by a 6, everyone's covered by a 4, and you're not double teaming the guy by the 6. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. But I think another one of the weaknesses for your team, which I didn't really think about until it got in that situation, because I'm sure you didn't have to come from behind very often, but Jordan Reed can't go deep. The max receiver on Reed and Engram is like 30-something. And even McCaffrey's like maybe 40-something. You really don't have those big, Ellison, of course, is like, 20-something. So those guys that are in the game, 3 of the 5 targets can't really get to the end zone on any given play. And it's not like everybody's going to have those, but it made it easier for me to lock down Stills and Cooks, I think.
Yeah, well, usually my offense is so strong just from scrimmage. Like I usually run the ball and I throw all 3 passes, and I just keep moving the chains. And because of time of possession and because of putting points on the board, I'm usually not trailing significantly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, even if I look at I mean, obviously, I don't think there was a game that I was trailing, 20-7 with 8 minutes to go. You know what I'm saying? I was trailing like 2 touchdowns 8 minutes to go. It's like I might have been down 2014, 12 minutes to go or something like that. But generally not going down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I mean,
yeah.
it's funny because like I felt like I had a hard time stopping your offense, which I thought might be a problem. But I mean, if you look at the stats, well, you settled for a lot of field goals, and I was telling Michael before you came on, like that was kind of like what my approach was going to be. My approach was this, like, okay, you know, passing downfield right against me is good for you. Short pass, long pass, because I know the pass blocking is going to generate all these dump offs for you. Russell's, got completions and he got the must run, and that was going to be good for you. But I wasn't that worried about your flat pass game. And I had to respect your running, especially when Malcolm Brown was in there in the first half. And I know you're going to run Russell at times and stuff like that. So I was going to try kind of play kind of a bend but don't break and kind of stand there. I don't give you too many long pass, one man right looks and stuff like that because of the dump off and this and that. And I had no way to really counter your dump off because even if I like free safety blitzed and brought everyone like every play, it's like the pass rush numbers were still weak. It's like that would be a bit of bad strategy for me. So I was kind of hoping that, you would kind of run out of steam because while the numbers were good for you to get like, 5-6 yards every play, they weren't like, a lot of times, you get 7 or 8 plays like that and then you stall, and I was thinking like inside the 20 or inside the 10, I had a better chance to stop you. That your running game guessed correctly is not as good, and with no dump off to form Russell, maybe I could do some fancy double team, may have a chance. I mean, it's hard when it's hard in the modern leagues. If the guy's got a good quarterback, and has got a good quarterback and great pass blocking, a lot of times he's just going to sustain drives by just throwing the ball and getting dumped off. You don't have to worry about the white die 6 and the flat pass. And of course, you have a decent rushing attack, especially when Malcolm Brown is in there, and you have the blocking on the left side, the 666, right? And you of course hope it.
Yeah, I didn't like go deep as much. I mean, I didn't like, I'm going to bomb and try to get a big play because I think that plays into your hand. You have so many 5s and 6s on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I did try to be a little bit more patient, and I did also try to stay away from the flats because why am I throwing into 5s, maybe 2 5s in the zone? I did that a couple times, but I tried to like run and short pass. That was my attack today.
Yeah, and I noticed, like even in the regular season, like you didn't throw that many bombs compared to what a Dennis Crowley team normally does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Usually you mix in. I would say you probably throw more bombs than the average coach, but you're not like a bomb maniac unless the matchup is really favorable or the guys like really moving that free safety a lot. I know you like to punish guys when they move the free safety. You like to take some shots and get the big hit, So, but I mean, really, it was just. Like I told Michael, I don't know if you heard this, Dennis, before you came on. I've told you this before, and you kind of poo-poo it, but if you check the records, it probably bears out. All day long, I had a feeling I was going to lose this game. And, and in the past, whenever I've had a hunch like that, especially in the playoffs, I usually have lost. I don't always get a hunch like that before a playoff loss or a loss. But my hunch is usually pretty good for that. And I even thought I rescheduling. But I was like, but I don't even feel any better if I play this on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And let me get the game out of the way. I'll know if I advance or not. But I knew, I knew that what could hurt me was if Garoppolo was going to throw picks, because he didn't have a game all year where he threw like a lot of picks. What frustrated me was getting the picks on your card with 3 men and short pass right. It's like if I would have been hitting like Garoppolo's like short pass right 11, where he's got the high number, I'd have been like, all right, listen, hey, that's Jimmy G. He's got picks on the card, and I got to wait the whole year. Now it's catching up to me. So hitting on your card with the 3-man 2-4, when I had the good pass defense and they were completions otherwise, that was rough for me. That was rough for me, and just not getting like the normal sustaining stuff with my offense like I usually get. I think you did a really good job of defense, especially the first half. But the second half, I felt like the plays were there for me. And I'm not saying you were guessing wrong, but I'll be running guess wrong, or I'll be throwing a flat against a 4 guess right. Like even like that final sequence, it's like a 2nd and 10 flat pass right to Deion Lewis, defender of -3. It's like, defender of -1. I wasn't getting the white die 6s. Your 4s are making plays. I wasn't getting the, like, how many times did you see like a +6 or a +7 on Jimmy G's card, flat pass right? I don't remember all the, except for that big, I had a huge, really possibly, not big huge, but I had a huge like flat pass right short gain on like a third and something against you. That was
even if I would have doubled correctly, it was still +8. Yeah. So
Okay, yes, I was like, I did that one, but yeah, that was tough for me. You can't really overcome that stuff, like you said. The Dale Van Dieven game, you're throwing flat with Drew Brees against fours. You're running with Todd Gurley, guess wrong or guess right, but there's nobody there, and you've got a pretty good line, and you're just getting +2, +3, +1. You're not getting a block for +7. You're not getting a white die 6. You're not getting a +6 on the quarterback's card. Stuff to get you going. I had glimpses of it in the second half, but not enough. And it was look, I scored 7. I scored 7 points. You're not going to win a lot of playoff games with 7 points.
I'll give you another thing that makes it like that other game is all the pressure was on you. All the pressure was on me in that game as a coach of a top seed of a team that had Brees and Gurley. In this, you're 16-0. I'm just a 9-7 team. If I lose, it's kind of expected. So that makes it even tougher to coach sometimes. It's something that we don't talk about a lot, but when you're coaching, when you're supposed to be the curse of supposed, it's a lot harder.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because I think maybe I think you're right in general, and I think I used to feel that maybe a few years ago. I think when I had that Peyton Manning SSFA team, that was the way I felt. But I think I've really gotten good in the last year and a half as I pat myself on the back after a horrible playoff loss in the wild card round. Not the wild card round, the round of 8. Quarterfinals too difficult to figure out. You got to say round of 8. But like in the last year and a half, I really got really good at just really accepting it's like one game at a time. Like you can't control things beyond your control, which is something that second thing is something I embraced in life a while back, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and really helped me a lot. But so like I kind of come into the game saying, I see Dan Moran's on there, like I told Dan Moran an email, like I even told you and stuff like that. To me, like the 16-0 didn't matter. Like it doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with what the matchup, the Stratomatic matchup, but I play my wild card game, my round of 8 game. Because it's like all that matters is my personnel against this guy's personnel, my coaching against his coaching. So I really wasn't feeling like the weight of 16-0, especially playing you, Dennis, because you're one of the best coaches out there. So if I was going to play you or Ed or Paul or Jay Villing, it's like, okay, I'm playing against a great coach. I don't feel like I've got some colossal advantage because of 16-0. And of course the weaknesses on my team, which I got lucky all regular season for them not to come out. The pass blocking, the grapples, interceptions, the place kicking, like there were weaknesses there. Like I said in the player preview show, yeah, the team went 16-0, and they should have gone 14-2 or 15-1, which is still a great record. But to me, they were not on paper the dominating 16-0 like I've seen before. Like the two teams that you and I used against each other in that Samsung Super Bowl, both of those teams I think were definitely better than this team. And those two teams are really stacked, Yeah. And I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I'm not trying to say the team wasn't really good. I mean, look, the team should have been the number 1 seed regardless, right? Even if I lost those 2 games, or even if that didn't happen, they would have been 12-4, 13-3, one of the top seeds. The team was real good. But grapples, interceptions, the lack of pass blocking, the place kicking, maybe not having like another 6 somewhere on defense. Like those things to me separated this team from like some of the truly great, I think, personnel teams. But having said that, you go 16-0. Everyone else is like, oh, it's a great team, 16-0. They're expecting great things in the playoffs. So. I mean, I'll be honest. Obviously, you don't want to go 16-0 and lose in the wild card round 26-7. That's no one's idea of a good time. But this loss won't really bother me as much as some of the other losses I had, because I don't think I coached that badly. I could have run the ball more in the first half, but overall, I think I coached okay. I mean, I think I called enough run to keep you honest. The second half, I could have called a little more when Tweak was in the game, and I knew you were going to try to run him cheaply, so to speak. But I mean, I don't feel like I called a really bad game. I could have run the ball more in the first half. That would have been it's one of my regular failings. But like there's other playoff losses where like I felt more directly responsible for the loss.
Yeah, this one, there's nothing you could do about this one. I mean, the way that the roles went, there wasn't a call that you could have done differently, and suddenly, and I didn't pick up on something where I could continuously move a guy or throw to a zone where you were uncovered. It's just the way the dice goes. You can't complain too much about luck in a cards and dice game, I guess.
Yeah, but but on the other hand, you coached a flawless game. You didn't make any mistakes. You know, I mean, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything obviously stupid for me to take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you went up by 10, and then said, like you said, I'm going to stand around a little more and make Tom earn it, because right now Tom's not earning it with Jimmy G and Deion Lewis. You know, and that continued. You know, so I mean, you coached an excellent game where it's funny because like a lot of times you look at a situation where maybe you've got weaknesses, maybe your team's got weaknesses, right? And then you coach this like great game, you cover all your weaknesses, and you're nailing the guy and everything, and it's like, wow, I coached an excellent game. But also, like coaching a game where you just like don't do anything stupid, that is also a very, very good coaching performance. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you coach great the first half, I think, especially in defense, especially the defense in the first half. But also, if you coach a game where like you just don't make any like big mistakes, and you don't give the other guy any like great opportunities, I mean, that's a very well coached game. We just don't think of it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I was happy with that.
Yeah, Dennis.
Some of the calls I made and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like Jay and Zeb like coach that way like every game. Like when you play like Jay and Zeb, it's like, especially Jay. I feel like I've said this before, that he's like Greg Maddux. He gives you the comfortable 0 for 4. It's like Jay doesn't seem to be doing anything like outrageous, and then you look over the fourth quarter and you're losing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, it doesn't seem to be like run team my guys and double teaming and safety blitzing or catching with no man in his zone all the time. But he's whatever he's doing. He's guessing correctly. He's built a good team. He's not making do anything stupid. And then of course on top of that he's winning. So I think that on defense, I think that in the second half you coach like that type of Jay Zeb type of game. And overall, like, I'm not going to do anything stupid. You ran the ball a ton in the fourth quarter with Tariq Cohen, saying, you know what, I'm not going to take any chances. Russell throwing a couple of picks already. And you and I have a little bit of a history of where you get a little greedy in the fourth quarter in the last couple of years, and Russell throws a pick that gets you back into the game. Was that in the back of your head at all in the fourth quarter of this one, or you were just thinking, let me just be a little more conservative on offense?
Well, when I had the 2-score lead, it was just be conservative, run the ball. I know that you had mentioned on a broadcast that accurate. So I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not going to call run as much because he doesn't think I'm going to run because I'm worried about a big fumble number. Cohen's fumble number is fine, despite his.
Yeah, that's correct. I was wrong about that. And when I was doing my draft prep, I was doing my game prep today. I saw that I had a fumble number as a low number, and I was like, oh, why did I think he had a high number? And I went back and even looked at like my fumble file, and I was like, oh, he does have a low number. So I just misremembered it, but I didn't coach against him as if he had a high fumble number, because I knew I look over the guy's team before the game, and I saw they had a very low fumble number. So, but
I just play conservative. Hey, I got to jump off here. Congratulations on the 16-0. I know you say it doesn't mean much. It's still pretty cool.
Oh, please don't congratulate me on the 16-0. I lost 26-7. I scored 7 points. I lost 26-7 the wild card round, despite not getting horribly diced, right? And I should have lost 2 games in the regular season. So to me, this 16-0 doesn't mean anything right now. The good news,
pick 6 field goals, it would have been like 19-14.
Yeah, the good news is I guess I can do my season recap now.
All right, fair enough. All right, guys, I got to go. Thanks for calling the game, Michael.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Well, I got the other advantages, and this is not a cheap shot at all. Now you get to broadcast, and you're the best broadcaster we have, so you're going to get to call all of these games now.
Well, I would have hoped to at least not call one more game, Michael.
Right. I know. I was trying to think of any consolation.
That would have been. Well, it's funny because I was thinking like in the last few days, last week I was like, you never want to draft. You never want to be drafting 24-20. You never want to be drafting 20th in these semi-family leagues, because that means that you had the best team that lost in the first round.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because it's 24-23. So number 20, you were the highest seed to lose in the first round. That's why you never want to be drafting, and I will be drafting number 20. So Dennis coached. Dennis is so good. I mean, he just coaches a strong game pretty much every time out. So, when he coaches another strong game, you're not like, oh wow, what a great job. It's just like, oh, just another strong game from Dennis. It's like I told him this like a year or two ago, and he got, he doesn't like all the accolades as much. He likes having the ability to be one of the best coaches out there. He doesn't like getting. He told me he doesn't like if I call him the best coach out there. He says there's too many other good coaches, the Jay Billings and the Eds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I told him a couple years ago, I was like, you coach a really good game, or if you go like 12-4, like win a championship, even if you're overachieving, no one's surprised because you do so well all the time.
Right.
I told him, I said, it's like Michael Jordan going for 34 points. It's like, 34 points is a nice night, but Michael's got to go for like 50 to get your attention. You know what I'm saying?
Expected, right.
Because because he's averaged 35 points a game some seasons or whatever.
Right.
So obviously, look, obviously it's very disappointing, to go 16-0 and losing the wild card. But when you're playing Dennis or you're playing Jay or you're playing Ed, that they're great coaches, and you don't go in there feeling like you have like a significant advantage unless you had a really bad team, and the team wasn't really bad. I mean, Dennis, like I said in the playoff preview show, he had like the number. He was up there statistically in both offense and defense and point differential. So it's probably a team that shouldn't have finished 9-7, which is a nice way to make myself not look so bad for getting for choking in the round of 8 with an undefeated team. But he was let me see.
He utilizes his personnel very well, but that's always a hallmark of his teams. There have been some clubs that he's had that he is admittedly, after winning championships, saying something to the effect of, this wasn't one of my better teams. I didn't think this club was going to make it as far as they did. I mean, he just stretches every drop, just wrings out every drop that he can from every one of his teams. He just knows this game inside and out, basically, and does the best that he can with the personnel that he has.
Yeah, exactly. Especially I think on offense, this particular game, and in general with this team, because he's got 3 6s over there. He gets the lead. He's going to run the ball up the middle with Tariq Cohen, who doesn't have a great card, so he knows I don't want to respect it. He's mixing in enough pass occasionally to keep it honest. He knows to get all the pass blocking advantage, so that short pass is going to be very tough for me to stop, right or wrong, of course. So I mean, he does all that stuff. He moved the chains. And let's face it, he kicked 4 field goals. He could have scored, even if you take away that pick 6. He could have, 72-yarder. He could have still easily gotten to, to 28, 30 points or something like that. But he had the number 4 scoring team in the league, and he had the number 6 team opponent points allowed. So I mean, that's not a typical 9-7 team. In a 24 team league, you're number 4 in points scored. You're number 6 in points allowed. You're number 3 in point differential. You expect to go better than 9-7. So. But, whatever. I've lost big playoff games before. I'll lose them again. This team actually should be a little better in the future, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah. I was looking actually at your team. You're loaded on defense, and you've got good young people on top of that. So,
yeah. Now, next year, I don't know. I mean, next year, the defense will definitely be better. The offense is tough to say because Grapple had a really good card this year, just a lot of interceptions on it. The interceptions didn't hurt me all year. I was lucky with that. That's another thing. I mean, he only threw like 12 picks or something like that.
Yep.
I was certainly throwing the ball quite a lot. Tony was probably upset about that because Tony had him in the fall and he was throwing picks all over the place. But, I mean, next year my quarterback is Derek Carr, and that might be a decent season statistically, but it might be a pop gun type of card. So a pop gun type of card is certainly, has its disadvantages. You can win with it, no doubt about it. But it's got its disadvantages. And I don't know what Christian McCaffrey's rushing card is going to look like. I mean, they actually passed the ball a lot more than they ran it. So his rushing card might not be as strong as as you might think. Like thinking, he had a really good year, 5-yard average, whatever. So, but I really wanted to make the semifinals at least with this team before the season started. My goal before the season started. Go 12-4 better, make at least the semifinals, and I failed in my goal. I lost in the quarterfinal, the round of 8. Scoring only 7 points. I could have coached a lot better in the first half, especially on offense, and I deserved to lose, in my view. So the guy Dennis coached better than me, and the matchup was tough for me against his pass blocking. But whatever. I mean, Dennis is a great coach. I'm not going to be too upset of losing the game to him.
He is. He is. Look, I played this
Yeah.
game for like 3 or 4 years, and I'm telling you, I've gotten a chance to beat him a few times, and I swear what I should just do immediately is go out to the car and go buy some lottery tickets, because you feel like you've gotten away with one when you've beaten him. You really do.
Well, my record against him is actually pretty good in recent years. We're kind of going back and forth. I beat him 20-0 in summer sprint, but I think I beat him the last couple of years in summer sprint. He beat me this year and last year in SSFA playoffs. But we're kind of around 500 the last couple of years against each other. But but again, like I don't feel like I was horribly diced. I mean, I threw 2 picks. He threw 2 picks. Yes, he got a 72 interception return, but it just wasn't. My offense just wasn't getting things going in the first half. Most of that was because he was double teaming. So first half, my offense didn't do much because he was actively double teaming me, and I wasn't running the ball enough. So those are coaching reasons. Second half, I had plenty of opportunities. I wasn't getting the roles, but even if I had gotten the role in the second half, I'd probably lose anyway because I put myself in a hole with the bad first half coaching. So,
again, that was to me. I still think though that was a lot of snake bitten roles. I mean, and again, you've always said this that it's not the roles, it's coaching. But there are some game anomalies that happen where basically, like I said, 3 men in the zone on a 2, 4, and 12 split, and you hit it not once but twice, and a 31-yard field goal. I mean, come on,
2 to 4. 2 to 4 only, not even 2 to 4 and 12.
Not even 12. I mean, yeah. So come on.
Well, yeah, I know, but I do think absolutely that there's nothing wrong with recognizing good fortune or bad fortune. Okay, and I had bad fortune in those 2 plays, but I would say I was throwing a fair number of short passes, guessed correctly, and Garoppolo has a high pick on his own card. So I mean, I got told then I said, if I'd have got those, you hate to get them there. You hate to get them on the short pass 3 men, 2 to 4, not even 2 to 11 and 12, 2 to 4. And you're like, oh, come on, or a completion. And then one gets run back 72 yards and you're the 1 seed and you're 16-0. And you're like, great, that's not what I needed. You know what I'm saying? But Garoppolo's card, I really wouldn't have complained because his short pass right pick is high. And that's that's part of my team is that Garoppolo has picks on the card. I was lucky it didn't hit me all season. So, but Dennis did a great job. Look, he was 9-7, and now he's 2-0 in the playoffs, winning his games 54-14.
Nobody wants to run into him. I don't care what team he has. I mean, nobody wants to run into this guy.
Like I said, I play a lot of strat. I've lost a lot of big games. I've won some big games. I've lost more than I've won. And, I just keep plugging away. I mean, this team, I was not happy with this team early in the season. And I told Dennis it was impossible for them to redeem themselves unless they dominated everyone the rest of the way and made at least the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't do that, but they did meet my definition, but they did redeem themselves in my eyes because they played great the rest of the regular season. Garoppolo was great, but in the playoffs, I played 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
I got outcoached significantly in the first half. I had some bad luck and I lost handily.
Every game is a learning experience. That's it. Every one of these games are, and you will put this one in your back pocket and you will keep it for future reference. It is what it is.
Yes. I'll be looking to learn to lose less often.
But again, you're going to be calling all these games. You're such a great ambassador for this game, and even people will be listening to this at the end. That's how you get more people involved in this hobby is things like this and listening to these sort of broadcasts and your draft shows and your preview shows. And thank goodness for you being such an ambassador. I can say myself, that's why I'm doing this, and I'm sure there's going to be more as a result of you, and we appreciate you.
I hope so. All right, Michael, thank you. Yeah, I'll have to drag myself up and call these other SSFA playoff games. and they don't even make the semifinals. So, all right,
muster the courage to do it. I'm sure that you can, buddy.
Okay. I will.
I'm not going to congratulate you because you said not to. But
no. Please don't congratulate me for losing in the
I'm
first.
Well, I refuse.
All right. All right.
All right. You have a good night. All right.
All right, Michael. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, that's going to wrap things up. So that was the first of our 4 SSFA playoff games. Your final score, Seattle will move on to the semifinal round. As our final score, Seattle over the Jets 26-7. Tom Cook will finish his season at 16-1. Dennis now stands at 11-7. So if you stuck with us for this broadcast, we appreciate it. If you didn't, you'll be watching it in the funny papers or looking at it the next day in the newspaper. But either way, we're glad that you were with us tonight. Got 3 more games to go in these playoffs. Got a couple weeks more before the ratings come out. We'll be looking forward to all of it. Thank you for joining. We appreciate it. And good night, and God bless.